A few months ago, I got to work on a project that was literally a dream come true for me. It was for a new mini hockey company called SMAHL Hockey. And what made it so special was being able to lean into the nostalgia of it all. And working on the project, I literally felt like I was traveling back in time to the 90s, playing mini sticks in the basement with my friends. And so today, I'm breaking down the full project from the discovery call all the way to the final deliverables. But before we do that, let's take a minute just to watch the main brand launch video that we created for SMAHL Hockey.
Oh, look out, you see that? Oh.
At Somerville Capital.
Commercials.
All right, we're gonna warm it up nice and hot. You're gonna be able to lift the ball just like the pros do, buddy.
Dad, what are you doing?
This is how we used to play before phones.
Oh, can we play?
Okay, first to 5. Oh, maybe first to 3.
No slap shots!
The ball's gone forever.
Okay, I think I'm done.
Let's give this a shot.
What is this? Okay, that's cool. I guess it's time to retire this.
I think it's time.
Watch the game change. Watch the game change. Watch the game change. Watch the game change.
Section 1, pre-production. The discovery call, extracting the real goals. So before I ever get to production, I always go through a process with our clients of discovery calls. We'll usually do a few of these where we can gather a bunch of information from the client just to make sure that we're all actually aligned on the main goals of the project and we're not just creating a video for creating a video's sake. So on that first call, here are a few questions that I'll normally ask any client. What's your story of getting started? What's the story behind this product or service? What problem are you really trying to solve with this product or service? Who's the target audience? What is it that your customers actually care about? What do people who have tried your product or service so far love about it? And ultimately, what do you want people to feel and do after they watch the video? And by going through this process of asking the clients these questions during the discovery phase, you naturally just get them to open up about what they're excited about, what it is that made them start this product or their service in the first place. And so going through this process with SMAHL, we were able to extract that their target audience is likely parents in their 30s to 50s who likely grew up playing mini sticks themselves as a kid. And because of this, that's when we decided to just really lean into the nostalgia of it all. Not only that, but we also uncovered one of the goals is to hint at how parents want to get their kids off their phones and do something active, and also have the opportunity to actually train for hockey while using the product. And for the kids seeing this video, they want that competitive rush that SMAHL offers, the timer, the points, the smack of the ball hitting the target. And the cool thing about the SMAHL ball is that it actually has this anti-bounce technology, so it's great for training with, which we highlighted in some of the social content that we created. And so that's where these emotional and tangible goals that we were chasing became really clear to us. And we decided, let's make the parents actually feel that nostalgia as they watch the videos, and then make the kids who are watching other kids play the game in the video actually want to play it themselves. This is why I love the pre-production process so much, because you're not just collecting notes from the client, but you're actually extracting their origin story and the passion that got them to create the product in the first place, while also narrowing in on who is this for and why should they care. And then from there, you're injecting all that information into the assets and videos you're creating for them in a creative way. Building the concept, nostalgia to chaos to contrast. Once we had the core goals worked out, we started to build out the concept for the main video, which looked like the kids watching the game, the intermission hits, the kid gets bored. Dad has this idea spark and jumps up. He digs out his old mini stick gear. We show the chaos of all the old mini sticks unfolding. Mom walks in and is like, okay, I've had enough. And she introduces SMAHL Hockey, which also is cool because it positions mom as the hero, which of course all hockey moms are going to fall in love with. And then we have this final scene of the kids playing with SMAHL and the dad realizing, okay, maybe it's time to hang up the old stuff because this thing's awesome. For the nostalgia moments I mentioned earlier, these were weaved throughout the video, where we had the mini stick curved over the stove, the old tape ball, people diving everywhere, losing the ball under the couch, the ball dinging off the lamp, and the mom yelling no slap shots, which again was probably a very common thing that we all experienced back in the 90s. And what I love about all these things that we chose to weave throughout the main brand launch video is that all these moments that we put in there instantly become relatable to the people who grew up in that era. And it actually taps into a shared memory bank in their minds. And it makes them remember the good old days of being a child themselves. And that reaction that people have when watching, it isn't by accident. It actually happens because nostalgia hits both memory and emotion at the exact same time in our brains. And I was genuinely curious about the science behind this. So I did some research and discovered that in the brain, the hippocampus lights up with familiar long-term memories, while the amygdala triggers an emotional response connected to those moments that person experienced before. So when those two systems fire together, the brain treats the experience as not only meaningful, but also it's comforting. And not only that, but nostalgia releases a mix of feel-good chemicals like dopamine, which boosts connection, warmth, and trust. So when viewers see a scene that reminds them of their own childhood, their brain is literally rewarding them for paying attention. I think now knowing all this, that's why I think nostalgia is such a powerful thing, because you're tapping into that memory, that shared memory bank that people have in their minds, and this great feeling they have associated with something. And that's why I think it lands so deeply, because you're pulling people into this world that you've created that they've experienced themselves. And I think that's one of the main reasons why you're seeing restaurants like McDonald's or Tim Hortons kind of do these retro callback things where they bring back old toys or old donuts that they previously had back in the day. Ultimately, I think they're doing that because they're tapping into this shared connection that the company had with people buying their products at that time. And this is why I think nostalgia is such a powerful tool. And when you use it in your storytelling, even in subtle ways, I don't think people just pay attention to it. I think they actually feel a connection to it. And people always talk about building trust. And I think this is one of the best ways that you can do that, because you're tapping in, again, to that shared memory and good experience they had. So they naturally will feel more drawn and connected to it. So once the main concept was laid out, that is when we started building the storyboards. And as I shared in a recent video of the storyboard images, I utilized AI to build and create the exact images I wanted, which significantly fast-tracked this whole process for us. And from there, I began shaping the scenes, choosing the right camera angles, thinking through lighting setups, and crafting the look in a way that lets the audience feel something while watching the video. Deliverables we planned up front. To ensure we were filming with intentionality, we mapped out all the deliverables before production in our storyboard phase, based on what the client needed and some things we usually include. This is what we landed on. 1 main brand launch video, 3 social cut down reels, 30 plus product and lifestyle photos, and a main Amazon product video, which actually came after production from the client and highlights all of the features of their product for the Amazon store. I think this is one of the challenges we have as filmmakers, because we're often so caught up in the visual side of things and how things look and all that we can kind of miss the intended use case for the client and the ROI that we're trying to get for them. And so often in this part of the process, I'll put my marketing director's hat on and start asking questions like, how can we utilize the main brand video concept to create other cut down versions? How can we plan the production day in such a way that we're maximizing time for coverage? Like, are there certain scenes that we can put next to each other just to make the production day flow better? Can we frame things in such a way that they work well for both the main video and the social media cut downs? Location scout and planning production. Once we sent off the final storyboard treatment and got the client approval, we began planning where we would film, who would be in it, props, and all the other details. We decided to film this project at the client's home since the way their basement was set up was perfect for what we wanted to capture, especially the way the doorway was positioned for the scene of the mom busting through the door. The only other location we filmed in outside of this was a hotel near the client's home so we could film the kids playing in the hallway, which again was another nod to the nostalgia of playing in hotel hallways with your friends as a kid. So once we had locations locked in, we firmed up the prop details, talent, and began scheduling the production day. Section 2, Production. Unique Challenges, the Blackmagic Pixis. For camera, I decided to film this project on the Blackmagic Pixis 6K. I knew this project was going to be one of those showpieces for us, so I wanted to utilize a camera with really great color and a bit of a higher resolution. But like I mentioned in my FX6 video, filming on a camera without autofocus while trying to direct the talent and operate the camera turned out to be pretty challenging. We obviously made it work and I'm super happy with the results, but I think if I could do it again, I would just shoot it on the FX6. And so I think the takeaway for me from this was, while a camera might look stronger on paper, it might have slightly better color, it comes down to finding the camera that works best for the workflow you're in, and then also the crew size you're actually operating in. Ultimately, I think it comes down to what helps you stay focused on telling the story and not having something get in your way. Lighting. So in terms of lighting, here's a few scenes worth highlighting so you can see how we chose to light this project. One general rule that we always have on set is we always try to light spaces, not faces. So we'll light the whole room, start with our wides, and then as we work in, that's when we'll start to modify the lighting, bring in negative fill, all that kind of stuff for those close-ups and everything. So I'm just going to break down a couple scenes. If you want to see me break down, these in way more detail, let me know. Okay, so as you can see here, this is kind of the main area of the basement that we did a lot of the scenes in. And so for this one, again, trying to light spaces, not faces, we had a lot of nice opportunity to use these windows, patio door here, and then over this way there's actually more windows. So what we did in this case, we had a pretty decent day outside actually, which helped do a lot of the heavy lifting for us, but we put a 600D outside the window here and just kind of let that blast in this way to really lift everything up. And then again, anytime we went in for close-ups, that's where we had an Amaran 22C, which is off camera over here. This way, just filling in some things a little bit. So yeah, 600D here, Amaran 22C kind of doing some other stuff here. And then there were other moments where we might have brought in some neg and stuff like that on this side. And then over here, this is the lamp that the ball went off over here. So for that one, we just had an Aperture B7C in there that we can control. I absolutely love throwing those things in to scenes. So that's kind of it for this one. Again, we try to not make things super complicated with what we do, again, given usually small crew, that kind of stuff. So having this 600D doing a lot of the lifting, just blasting through, you can kind of even see it there with the light shaft and over here as well. Just creates a lot of depth and kind of just gives it that natural, sunny day kind of look. And then the next one we had here is when we went in for the close-up. Again, likely brought in some neg here. And still that 600D on the back doing a lot of lifting for us. You can see it kind of hitting his face here, which again, now that he's gotten all nice and sweaty from the mini sticks, is kind of cool for creating that like glistening sweat look on him. And that's kind of it for this one. Again, very simple. You can kind of even see a bit of the 600D happening over here, which is awesome. And yeah, very simple. Okay, and on this one, this is when the dad goes over to the storage room to pull out these old mini sticks. So this was probably one of the more complicated ones because there was no actual like windows in this storage room. So we had another 600D that we kind of just like blasted through the doorway, which is hitting over here that you'll see in the next scene. And then we had a Amaran inside the storage room, the F22 again, which is doing some fill here as well. And then we had an Aperture light tube, which you're kind of seeing right there. And that was just mounted up in this kind of under storage cabinet piece, more on this side though. So yeah, just again to fill in the shadows. So Amaran coming this way and 600D blasting through the doorway, which again, you'll see in this next one that I show you. Okay, so now you can really see here the 600D. So yeah, we have it coming through here, which you can see on the door right there. So it's blasting in this way. And then this that you're seeing on his face, again, we're kind of breaking some rules of filming into the light side as opposed to the shadow side. But for this part, we just on camera and actually filming on the day, just thought it worked well. So you can see his face as he kind of kicks back into this flashback moment. But off to the side over here, that Amaran is kind of creating a lot of this as well. And then that aperture tube is still in here, but you can't see it because it's, you know, cut off in the frame. And that little shaft you're seeing here is likely coming from the 600D over here. So again, nothing too crazy or complicated. I think sometimes simple is best overall. So cool. And the last one I want to highlight is just this stovetop shot that we got. So this was actually in the client's home as well, which was awesome. They had this kind of old school stovetop, which was perfect. So there's a window right here. So there's nothing coming through that. That's just pretty natural. I knew we were going to throw it in black and white. So we didn't try to overcomplicate things again. But up here is where the stove hood is. You can kind of see a bit of it right there. So then what we did is we just put an aperture tube inside there and allowed that to kind of shine down this way onto the stick. And you can see some of that lighting even hitting them there. We're still getting a little bit of the flame, which is cool. That's what's awesome about these old stoves is like the gas flame you can see popping up there. Yeah, and again, not complicated. You're seeing a bit of that ring on the stick there. So yeah, letting the natural light kind of do some lifting here and then really using that tube up there to actually get to light this stick. So we're seeing the hands and the stick actually being curved over the stove. Production day, what made it so special? As I mentioned already, we weaved a lot of nostalgia throughout the main video and utilized this in some of the social cut downs as well. So for the nostalgia moments, we had the dad searching through the bin of old mini sticks gear. Then he kicks into this flashback montage of him with his dad curving the old mini stick over the stove, which is actually something we did as kids. Section 3, post-production. Why post-production was so smooth. So because we do so much of that work up front in the storyboard process and building the treatment, we're able to turn around projects a lot quicker because in post-production, we're really using that storyboard and treatment as a kind of like an edit map where we go shot by shot and we'll lay everything out. And it really feels like you're putting together a puzzle or building Lego because you kind of have the instruction manual laid out for you and you can just kind of build it piece by piece. And that's not to say there's no room for creativity or experimentation in the edit room, but again, we do a lot of that work up front so that whole process is really fast tracked on the back end and things are a lot smoother and just function tighter that way. Depending on the project, I'll sometimes pick the music up front, but on this one I picked it during the edit once I had all the story laid out and how things were going to naturally flow. We ended up using a couple tracks on this one, which worked well to build moments that drop and lift. I thought this track at the end of the video just fit perfectly with the actual product and what SMAHL is trying to do. I mean, their slogan is the next generation of mini hockey, so it almost implies the game is changing. And so I can't stress enough how important the pre-production process is. Just when you plan everything out on the front end of the project, the client has a way better understanding of how the edit is actually going to turn out, what the final deliverables are going to look like, rather than it being this like abstract thing in their mind. Because when you build the storyboard, you actually have the visual frames paired with what's happening in the video. So rather than you trying to explain, oh, it's going to look like this, it's going to like, we're going to frame it this way and we're going to film it here. You actually have these visuals that are closer to what you picture in your head and you can share that with the client. So by the time it comes for them to actually see the deliverables you've created, it's no longer a surprise. They're almost kind of expecting it to be a certain way because you've done all that work up front. And the best part I've found since we really started spending more time in pre-production is that on the back end, it's no longer like 10 to 20 to 30 revisions or different comments they might make on the video. It ends up being like really 2 to 3 small tweaks, which is exactly what happened on this project, it was awesome. I think one of the biggest takeaways for me from this project is how important the pre-production phase is, and just really understanding what are the emotional goals, what are the tangible goals we're chasing, what's kind of the ROI the client's looking for from this project. It just helps make every other part of the process that much better. And not only that, but the videos actually will likely perform better long-term because they're true to the heart of the brand, and you've done all this work up front to really understand that. So in their messaging and how it's communicated will just be that much stronger because it's actually true to the origin story of why this product exists, who it's for, and all those other details that you've uncovered in the discovery phase. So if you have any specific questions about anything I've shared from this project in this breakdown, definitely drop a comment. I would love to answer your questions. I do write back to every single person that comments on these videos because I love the filmmaking community and I love what's happening here on YouTube, especially on other channels as well. And if you want to see more breakdowns like this, I would love to walk through other projects that we've worked on or are working on, as I love talking about strategy and filmmaking and all that stuff. And so if you've made it all the way to the end of this video, you're the best. I genuinely appreciate you watching this, and I hope in some way you found a lot of value from this and can apply this to your own filmmaking journey. And so I'll see you in the next one.